I put it to you that Nigeria currently ranks as the third worst country in the world when it comes to issues around child marriage. Presently, there are about 24 million girls who should be in school receiving education. They are in the bedrooms of men, sometimes who are old enough to be their grandfather, as wives. Girls from very poor homes, the poorest of the poor, who should be receiving education, are receiving ejaculation. I mean, 24 million girls are currently married in Nigeria. This issue of child marriage in Nigeria is a pandemic, in my opinion. And I say that urgent steps needs to be taken to address this issue of child marriage. There was a report that was released sometime in 2024, a few months ago, by the federal government of Nigeria. You know, this report was made in collaboration with the United Nations and UNICEF. 24 million girls are married as wives. If you read this report, it's very easy to discard this and say, oh, this is a northern problem. This is a problem that is prevalent in the northern part of Nigeria. Of course, we agree. But that does not exonerate the East, the West, and the South. It does not exonerate us from this equation. While child marriage is indeed an issue, mostly in the northern part of Nigeria, for the rest of us, the format is slightly different. You can have a man live a very regular life, go about his business, even be the best father in the whole world, protect the interests of his children, yet, by the side, that man can still be a sexual pervert. While in the north, a pervert can boldly walk to a family, the poorest of the poor, knock on their door, offer some incentives, and take their child, a child who should be in school, as wife. In the other parts of Nigeria, this man can live a very regular life and find a way to still lure these girls to his bed. I know somebody will come to me and say, oh, there are some 16, 15-year-old girls. You find them in the club. It doesn't matter. What the law says is that that child, whether or not you believe that that child is up to 18 or not, whether you are in a misconception, as far as you have any form of sexual relationship with that child, it is still a crime under the Child's Rights Act. I know somebody is about to ask me, if we have laws that protect children in this country, why is this issue still very prevalent? It is prevalent because the enforcement of the Child's Rights Act, some states in Nigeria, especially those northern states, they have refused to accept it to apply to them. They have refused to accept the application of the Child's Rights Act. So as it stands now, the Child's Rights Act that protects the interests of children against all these forms of sexual violence and other forms of exploitation does not apply in the northern part of Nigeria. So when you're talking about the issue of child's bride, child marriage, yes, it's a northern issue, but the other parts of Nigeria cannot be exonerated. The only difference is that the format is different. It just shows that we are a society, with all due respect, it just shows that we are a society of very sick people. We have a lot of very sick people who have a weird, wild, fantasy for children. It will also interest you to know that we rank as the third worst country in the world when it comes to child marriage. It's the reason why I said that it's a pandemic. We are number 3, the third worst country in the world with issues around child marriage. If you do your findings, you will discover that the girl child in Nigeria is an endangered species. Even within family circles, these things happen. Yes, in the other parts of Nigeria, the pervert may not be bold enough to walk up to a family to request for the hand of a child in marriage. But children are still sexually exploited all over Nigeria. It's a pandemic that has eaten deep into the fabric of our society. And in my opinion, it does not speak well of us at all. It doesn't speak well of us. As a people, we need to do better. Yes, the Child's Rights Act protects children in Nigeria, in some parts of Nigeria. And what does the law say? The law says that if you propose to a child, if you are betrothed to a child, or you make any form of arrangement to be married to a child, by reason of that act alone, you are liable to imprisonment of 5 years. If you now take it a step further to have sexual relationship with a child, marry a child as wife, keep her in your bedroom, and you're having sexual encounters with her, you can be liable to imprisonment for up to 14 years. But of course, the enforcement of this law is very poor. And the report that was released by the federal government in February 2024, the federal government said that they have set a target of year 2030 to eradicate child marriage in Nigeria. My people, this is 2025. 5 years more to go. Does it look like we are making any progress on this matter? As a people, that's why I brought it out here. What do you think we can do? Because as it is now, we have to join hands with the government to see how we can end this embarrassment. It's convenient to say, oh, it's not my business, not my problem. Well, it may not be your problem, it may not happen in your family. But the truth is that that's the reason why when you travel abroad and present your Nigeria passports, you are treated like a plague. Yes, it is the reason. Some of the reason, let me say. You are treated like a plague because they see you like a walking red flag. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your place in society. You can be doctor, professor, barrister, and whatever you are. It doesn't matter. But on the record of these nations that are civilized, they see you as a red flag. So this is not a time to be indifferent. This is not a time to, want to say, have an I don't care attitude. This issue of child marriage is a pandemic. What can we do as a society to end this embarrassment on our image? What do you think we can do? Your suggestions are highly welcome. At the end of the day, I will look through these comments, collate, and write to the federal government to say, CEO, these are some of the things that we are suggesting. And if we continue to lend our voice, probably they will even pay more attention to it to know that 2030 is only 5 years away. That is the promise that they have made to the international community, to the United Nations and UNICEF. They collaborated to do all of these findings, and they have promised the international community that by 2030, Nigeria will end child marriage. This is 2025. As a citizen of Nigeria, as a citizen of the world, one that is concerned about the welfare of the girl child, what do you think we can do? Drop your comments in the comment section. At the end of the day, we'll collate, we'll write to the federal government to say, these are our suggestions. And in any way we can lend our voice, we continue to lend our voice for the welfare of the girl child. If at this point you have not followed my channel, wait till you gain.